Hey everyone, welcome back. New Windsor's returning today, and we're going to be working on a sewage treatment plant over here to the north of downtown. It's going to be a pretty large plant. It's going to be based off one in Manchester, New Hampshire. So let's get straight into it. So as you can see here, we've started off by laying the foundation for this this highway, or I guess it's going to be some sort of parkway that's across the water from the plant. So another thing, this episode I actually made a couple of months ago. Patrons have seen this already, but remember, this is the last video that patrons will see as a repeat, and then we're on to totally new content moving forward. Obviously, we just had to, get used to the shift in the way Patreon works, which I've explained in, how I've changed the apparatus for that in the first episode of Columbia City. So definitely check that out if you haven't. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really built in New Windsor in a long time either. So this is old footage. I generally know what's going on here though. So this plant we're working on is based off something in Manchester, New Hampshire, south of downtown. It's a really big plant, I guess, considering its surroundings. And it's also surrounded by a bunch of industry, and the next episode is going to be an episode where we sort of go through and add a bunch of industry to the area around here that's sort of integrated with the environment. And I mean, yeah, this area is generally going to be industrial. We're not going to have much residential over here. This is like right next to that really bad neighborhood we built in like episode 15 or something. I mean, yeah, I mostly use the Ronix sewage treatment plant assets. You'll see a little later. And then I'm using this Senfkorn, I probably pronounced that wrong, shoe factory asset, which I really do like because it works well for like a New England warehouse sort of thing. And I mean, right now I'm still like taking a break from New Windsor. But, I wanted to get this episode sort of up public on the channel so that we're all up to date in terms of Patreon episodes. And I mean, yeah, I had been meaning to work on a sewage treatment plant like this for a long time, and I just hadn't really gotten around to it. But when I finally did, I'm happy with how it turned out, because this sewage treatment plant it's gonna serve all of the needs the city has. I try not to completely cheat in terms of electricity production and water, whatever. Usually that's a good cue to tell me that I need more of a certain type of utility, and I mean, yeah. In this case, it was sewage treatment. Another thing you definitely want to notice here is the oil pipeline asset I'm using to go just sort of between the clarifiers and the basins just to connect them up. Obviously, this is totally not completely realistic, but you do see this in real life in the plant we're basing this off of. Definitely a method you should try. Alright, so let's have some fun and look at some stuff you guys have built. So, I've been doing this a lot more recently. Obviously, I've gone over this, when I did the previous audio for this video, but it's, I want to still keep it in the video in this new version. But I guess let's get started. If you want to have your stuff showcased, just send me either a Twitter DM or contact me anywhere. I'm hoping the YouTube comments are not filtered out with the links, but like I'll make sure they're not if I go through the spam and whatever. But ideally, just send it to me on Twitter. But you could comment it if you'd like. And by the way, make sure that like whatever you upload is in a Imgur album, imgur.com. So you're able to download it in high quality. And also, if you can do like Shift F12 when you're taking the screenshot for like ultra high quality screenshots, it'll allow me to zoom in a lot more. So if you want to do that, that'd be really nice of you as well. All right, so the first build I want to go over here is by Klem. It is a build set in the south of England called Great Newley, which is a really cool, quaint little British town. And I really like the integration of all of the more modern buildings as well. I've actually built something UK sort of inspired in the past when I was sort of trying to copy Corrales when I was very new to the game. I used that level of legacy depth of fields, literally. That was me. But yeah, Klem, really awesome job on this build. I love it. Just maybe one recommendation, maybe try to go for like a LUT with more contrast. Like try to check out one of my graphics tutorials for good relight settings. So the next project I want to go over is from somebody from Twitter named Salforth, who's been working on a Pacific Northwest project called Van Adel, which is a combination of Vancouver and Seattle. Sure. But I really like this project. I love the snow caps in the background, and obviously, you know, the shots with it raining. It's the Pacific Northwest, so you gotta have those. And it reminds me of Arrowmore with the snow-capped mountains that we had there. Honestly, I love that look. And it's just this shot from afar is just spectacular. I love the Bay Bridge integration here. I'm probably gonna do something like that in Columbia City as well. Really awesome project. Huge fan. So great job on that one, Salforth. Okay, so this one I've been eyeing for a while. I absolutely love this project. So this is by somebody on Twitter named Tooby, who is working on this Chicago project, which I find to be completely awesome. So Toby's using a lot of these graystone assets just in rows and rows and rows of them. They just look so good. And honestly, we haven't seen much Chicago stuff, out on Twitter or Reddit or anything. So I love this project. I also love the fact that it's in the deep winter, so there are no leaves on the trees, but there's also no snow because, obviously there's winter with no snow. That exists. I love this little corner shop here. And I'm a huge fan of like just this one shot right here. Like, look at that shot. I really want to see more of Toby's shots. So Tooby, post more on Twitter. They're just so good. But yeah, once again, guys, if you want to be featured as well, just send me an Imgur album with your work and you'll be in a video. Alright, here we are working over here by this river, which is completely not navigable whatsoever, like a lot of rivers are in, the Northeast. It's so weird to me that you'll have these cities that are built on rivers that are totally not at all navigable. I don't know enough about the history. Maybe they were in the past, and maybe it's just for the fact that mills needed to be placed there. That's probably the case for New England cities. But I don't know, definitely give me some insight in the comments there, because I'm no historian on that particular subject. Yeah, we're continuing to use these pipeline assets by Bad Idea here, which once I, saw the pipelines that I showed you earlier in real life in that one plant, I mean, I figured listen, I've got these oil pipeline assets. Let's see how they look. I mean, generally, I really like them. Obviously, the way they're connected to each of the different clarifiers and, you know, basins is a little bit unrealistic. I think they're better with the basins than they are with the clarifiers, but still, it looks pretty cool. This is definitely the best treatment plant that I've made so far, and I think I've made one in every single project, if I'm not wrong. I think I made one in Aramore. That might be, and then, no, I don't know if I made one in Navoda, but, yeah, I know Falcon Falls, and, actually, wait, that's essentially all of my projects. Yeah, I think, I know I made a couple. Did I make it? I'm very confused. I know I've made a lot of these in the past, though, and this is definitely my favorite one. Another thing you see I'm doing here is I'm sort of implementing a bunch of sort of rubble and construction materials and stuff, because, you know, in real life, in the one in Manchester, there is a bunch of this stuff. So I figured it'd be realistic to just add some pipes here. What I did was I used the pipe assets by Beard Monkey, and I used Prop Line Tool, and then just aligned them to the same terrain level so that they were like longer, but weren't choppy or whatever. So that looks pretty cool. And I'm just using a bunch of decals here. I mean, honestly, I'm trying not to go too heavy on the detail because this is pretty, like, it's not close to downtown. I was about to say it's pretty close to downtown. I mean, it is relatively close to downtown, but it's not something that we're going to be looking at a lot, if that makes sense. And I need to be able to expand in the city, you know. Obviously, I've talked about this before, but the layout of the city is a little bit, you know, not conducive to expansion because the way I've laid the roads out, and it doesn't feel as much like New England as some other cities might, but it's slightly a mishmash of things, and it's totally still realistic. A lot of neighborhoods make absolutely no sense, but that's how it works in New England. And honestly, I'm just making it for the aesthetics of it, and Columbia City is my city to work on for the, I guess, the functionality and also just the general layout of it. New Windsor, I'm just trying to get some nice screenshots, man. Alright, let's have some fun and read some comments from the last New Windsor video that went up on the channel, just because I don't really know what else to do, and we've got, like, some time left, and last time we did that, it was fun. Let's see, so a question from, yeah, the comments. Can you upload this to the Steam Workshop? I want to blow this up for a vid. I wish you were able to blow it up for a video, but, like, I'm probably not going to be uploading to the workshop for reasons I've explained before, mostly just because I've got houses here that are custom local assets that are not released yet, and also it's really, really laggy, let's just say that. All right, next. I see you using Roads United and Traffic Manager President Edition. Is it compatible? Some people say it is, some don't. I'm scared to use it without confirmation. Hope you get to read this. Yeah, so Traffic Manager has started putting pop-ups up saying that Roads United is not compatible with it. And I think it's generally doing this for any mods that it's marking as not compatible for some reason. And Roads United Core Plus specifically has been marked as incompatible on the Steam Workshop. Probably because it's not updated much these days, and I mean, ideally, if you don't need it, don't use it, but it actually loads the newer next road textures, and I really want to be able to load those, so I'm using it. I'm not having problems. I also have like a bunch of features disabled in Traffic Manager, so maybe there's that, but generally I'm doing okay, so you might also be able to manage as well. Well, as far as I know, I mean, it's not gonna break your game, like break your save. Don't quote me on that, but like, it doesn't seem like a mod that could do that, because you're not actually adding any networks to the game. Alright, so this next one's a doozy. I'm gonna speed it up.
What's wrong with McMansions? They are pretty. 3,000 to 6,000 square feet usually, a 2 to 3 car garage, usually a double foyer and a double great room, 4 to 5 bedrooms normally. It's a nice housing style. There are a few tacky, poorly designed McMansions, but there are way more tacky, poorly designed, small, ugly houses, so you can't argue McMansions are bad architecture while supporting most small houses, since most small houses, unless they are newer, are ugly.
Okay, cool. Fun comment. So, my criticism of McMansions is not that they are bad architecture. I mean, I think McMansions out east that have, like, you know, the big lots probably have better architecture than the stuff out west, largely. But who needs 6,000 square feet? Does anybody actually need 6,000 square feet? Listen, I'm like a sort of a Matt Diavella style minimalist type of guy, so I can't imagine ever wanting that. type of square footage. I don't see any reason I need to own that or inhabit it. But like, I literally, all I want is like a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio apartment. Like, that's me, okay? I don't need like some enormous square footage. Maybe other people might, but I just find it to be completely ridiculous, like something I would never ever want. I don't know. You guys can tell me in the comments what you think of McMansions in that sort of case, because I don't know. I'm not a fan mostly. What is the city's source of power? If it doesn't have one, make that. So right now we've got an oil power plant that we made in like episode 8 or something. It doesn't produce enough power for the entire city, so I've sort of been using like a nuclear power plant that I've sort of just placed temporarily to fill that demand. But I do want to do something to fill the rest of that demand, and I'm not sure what. I don't know if it should be nuclear power or what it should be. Maybe another sort of fossil fuel plants further outside the city could be realistic in an area near like a plant like what we're working on right now. You guys can definitely tell me in the comments, though. I mean, I don't know if nuclear is a really good idea, but it'd be a lot of fun to make one with the dual nuclear power plant asset by Ronix. I don't know. Definitely need some feedback on that, because I do want to build another energy source. All right, next comment. Always a good video in my opinion. Maybe in one of the videos do an in-depth showing of how you manage roads and transportation systems. Okay, so in terms of transport, obviously we had the light rail episode of New Windsor a little while ago, but generally New Windsor's not heavy on transit just because of the way I planned out the road networks initially, and it's just gonna stay that way, unfortunately. But Columbia City, as you all know, is going to be very transit heavy. It's going to be a lot more focused on that sort of infrastructure. So if you're looking for something that's heavier on transit, definitely check out that series. So before we end the video, I just want to make a note that we're probably not going to have a, largely consistent schedule for New Windsor. I mean, just in the near future. I'm trying to just steer away from this series for a little while. I've got another episode that I'm probably going to work on after this one, so you'll see it maybe next week, maybe whenever, which will be on the industry surrounding this area. Smaller episode, but some really cool industry as well. But generally, I'm just trying to take a break from the series, and I mean, I think that should be a little bit clear. I mean, I've been working on it for a long time, and I want to just work on Columbia City, because that's what I feel like working on right now. Work on some Calavera Beach with some of the new Lijo houses. And overall, just, once again, New Windsor's on a little bit of a quasi-hiatus in terms of me actually playing it, but remember, I've got some older footage like this right here, and then one other episode that nobody's seen yet that definitely uploads, so you'll see that probably pretty soon, actually. And yeah, well, another thing that we really have to start adding a lot more is these mills. We haven't really been adding a lot of them, even though they're really central to New England, obviously. So I'm adding like a small little mill house over here by the water, but we're definitely going to add a lot more in the future as we sort of move out to the outskirts of the city, especially like along these rivers. That's going to be like a central part of what we build here. And obviously I haven't really built many of the mills, and that's going to be, it's going to get a little repetitive, but we're going to have to place a lot of them because it's New England, and that's a pretty common New England thing to have just ton of mills absolutely everywhere. But anyway, that's about it. Hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Once again, it it helps the video go up in the algorithm, which clearly has worked enough to get me on the trending page because YouTube gods thought the channel was good, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, just thank you all for your support. So yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, and you can subscribe if you're new around here. Hit the bell icon if you have nothing better to do than to watch my videos and want to know when a video comes out. If you have a remotely interesting life, probably don't hit the bell icon because it's just a distraction. Support me on Patreon. You'll get access to the next video that goes up on the channel. Not sure what that is yet, but it's going to be cool, whatever it is. So definitely go over there. Or if you just want to support me so I don't go bankrupt, that'd be really nice. I'm not close to going bankrupt, but I'm a college student, so like, you know, it's, yeah. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter for rants and updates and whatever I really feel like posting on there. But instead, another alternative is to delete Twitter. That's a second option. You can follow me on Instagram for like virtual photography and stuff like that. In-game, it's a cool place to be as well. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time.